Welcome to another Airsoft Reports presentation. Today we're going to take a look at the new TSD M4 RIS. You're looking at one of TSD's newest entries into the world of the M4 Airsoft market. Now this is technically a mid-priced AEG, although it is on the higher end of the spectrum. TSD lists it at $195 on their website, and it does include a second generation metal gearbox with 6mm steel bushings. It also includes an M110 spring, and it has a partially metal hop-up assembly. We'll show you that and elaborate on that a little bit later. It also has an aluminum outer barrel. And all in all, it also has 4 metal Picatinny rails on the foregrip, and it also includes the 4 plastic rail covers that you see pictured here. It includes one high-capacity metal magazine. It holds about 300 rounds. It does not, however, come with any kind of battery, so be aware of that during the ordering phase. All right, let's get into the specifics of this airsoft gun. There's a lot to cover, and we think a lot to like. Now, what makes the TSD M4 RIS different from some other M4s is the RIS rail. Virtually every other part of this gun is identical to really any type of M4 that you might see in the market. Now, there is a difference in terms of the finish on the receiver, and we'll get to that in just a minute. But what you can see here are what appear to be they're just covers, is what they are. They cover the 4 Picatinny rails. The rails themselves are metal, and there's a little trick to getting them on and off, which we're going to show you here in just a minute. But as you can see, it does have a pretty solid feel to it. It actually, honestly, feels more solid with the covers on, without any type of attachment. And that's simply because this is an M4 or M16 style airsoft gun, which unfortunately suffers from a little bit of barrel wobble. This is something that, of course, we were a little disappointed to see, but it's not something we didn't really expect. Most M4s suffer from that in some form or another. There are some screws that, again, we'll show you in a little bit on the inside that can help to alleviate some of it, but it really never gets rid of it totally, just based on the design. Now, this isn't TSD's fault per se, because really this is a problem with the design itself. If we had to blame anyone, frankly, we'd probably blame Marui, because they're the ones, Tokyo Marui, who seem to have created this style. All right, let's move to the receiver. This is something worth noting. This plastic, it is ABS plastic, and while that might not seem tremendously different or new or anything like that, they did a pretty good job on this. If you're going to have a plastic gun, you're going to want to have a finish of this quality, because it really does feel pretty good. And in comparison to, say, for example, the Echo 1 tester we've had for a while, you can see there's a significant difference. It actually looks and feels pretty qualitative, especially when you compare it to some of the other models on the market today. It actually, if you had to make a comparison, it would probably be most similar to a G36C, because it feels pretty sturdy. All right, let's move to the stock. This really isn't anything really out of the ordinary. As you can see, it's full size, so it can hold a larger battery, and we appreciate that, especially for longer skirmishes. It does have, this is an actual plastic stock, but it does have a metal butt plate, and we're going to turn this around. And this butt plate, it looks actually very similar to the M14 in that it has a small latch that you push down and open up, and that exposes the battery compartment itself. Unfortunately, it's not as large as you might think, and the reason for that is that there are a couple of channels that actually house the bolts that secure the stock to the receiver. You could probably cram a 9.6 in there. So far, we've only put 8.4 in there. But like I said, there's enough room. It'll just take a little bit of jimmying. One thing, this is minor, but it can be a pain when you're trying to get the battery in and out. When the battery's crammed in there, for some reason, this particular latch is very stiff. My guess is because there's a small Allen screw that you can actually adjust right here. See if I can tilt this down. No real way to show you, but there is a small Allen screw right in here, And with a Dremel or some kind of file, I'm sure you could probably smooth that out. Our guess is if you did that, you could probably fix the stiffness. Not a big deal, just something we found. You can probably see the scratches on there from our use of the screwdriver trying to pry it off when the battery was in there. You do have a metal sling attachment, and this is actually secured to the lower bolt. So if you take that lower bolt out, this little puppy will fall off. Just be watchful when you're doing that if you do that.